in the early 2010s is that there were variants of hemp that were developed, which were very high in CBD, but still contained no THC.
Mhm.
And what that means is that we were able to extract CBD from these hemp plants without any THC, which is essentially cannabis without the high. So
Mhm.
all the other beneficial properties of cannabis, but just one component missing, that's THC, which is responsible for the high. So that was our first product. It was our CBD oil. It did not have THC. It was amazing for stress, anxiety, for sleep, um, and it was non-psychoactive. After that, last year, after being in the market for a year exactly, we launched our CBD plus THC because we started working with a lot of doctors, and doctors said that the primary reason patients come to them, at least in the later stages of an illness, is for pain management. So, be it chemotherapy, surgery pain, arthritis, um, severe injuries, and they said they wanted something for pain. And now, what THC does is THC is very powerful psychoactively, but it's also very powerful as a pain reliever. So, we created a CBD plus THC oil. So, this does have THC, but targeted specifically towards pain relief and sleep.
I have helped a lot of companies with their referral program, and one of the thing
Mm,
that we have seen is it's always because you are too much focused on operations, the overall business
mm,
referral program, it goes down the priority list, right? But it's
yeah,
fairly
yeah.
straightforward to start for you guys. I think, because there is a repeat purchase, then if you offer somebody a 20% discount on their next purchase instead of referral points or anything like that,
Mm,
straightforward discount in
mm,
their, as soon as they refer somebody, that's going to do, I think, a lot of people, but promotion, especially, communicating that to the consumer, your existing customers, is something that you'll have to look at. But I think that is one channel which would work better for you guys than
yeah,
offline,
absolutely.
because offline is a different ballgame
Mm,
altogether. Let me tell you, because I've seen this is a Pharmarack is a multi crore company, hundreds of crores. They're
mm-hmm,
doing GMV that worth, and
mm-hmm.
they are themselves struggling, and they're giving cashbacks worth I can't even talk about it here. So that's the amount of cashbacks
Yeah,
being given. So
yeah,
I think, your customer base, whatever customer
very
base
tough.
you have,
Yeah.
and capitalizing on that is going to work wonders for you guys. You won't even need offline distribution. Like, eventually, probably
Hmm.
you'll come to
Mm.
a point where you'll need it, but then by then you'll have a large team to take care of it, right? Or somebody else taking over
Yeah,
that. Huh? Just
that's
a
true.
thought. I thought of
No, no,
before the.
it's a good thought. That's a good thought because we're actually redoing our website with a couple of new products now.
Mhm.
And loyalty program was at the top of our, not at the top, but somewhere in the top 10
I
of
know
our
it goes
list of,
down the priority list.
yeah, yeah, it starts going down. But it's very important. And I think the way you structured it, it's a good idea. We could, give the consumer a discount on their next purchase instead of, them counting points.
Points is, ठीक है, points चलेगा, but then a referral straightforward discount, 20% on your
Hmm.
next purchase. They'll come back. I mean, and you also have
Yeah,
to
simple,
communicate it
straightforward.
there. Straightforward. 15 days left for your coupon to expire. They'll probably buy
Yeah.
early, right? And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
coming to that, what if you can talk a little bit about the sales numbers, in terms of what is the when did you start? By the way, I forgot to ask that. Which year did you start this?
So I started work on Qurist in 2020. 2021 was we launched with a MVP, first
Okay.
version of the product. Um, Last year, we expanded to three different products, one for pets, one which has THC as well, which is a psychoactive component of the plant, and one which is our original product, which is our CBD oil. So I'll just give you a very quick crash course on cannabis, just because I think it'll help explain
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah.
things. So there's a cannabis species of plants, okay? It's got about 30, 40 different varieties under it. Now, all the varieties are basically classified into two different types, hemp and marijuana. So cannabis is the parent family. It has an offshoot. One is hemp, the other is marijuana. Hemp is all cannabis plants that don't have THC. THC is the chemical which induces the high, has that psychoactive effect. So there
And
is
is
one
addictive, is it?
range.
Is it addictive?
Um, there are some studies that say it is. There are some studies that say it's not. It really depends on how it's used. But it's, I think, still up in the air as to if there's no definitive answer to that just yet.
Okay.
So THC is the psychoactive component. There are you can assume about half of cannabis's varieties don't have THC at all. And this is hemp. So hemp, you would know, or you actually, most people won't know this, but until the 1930s, 1940s, hemp fiber, hemp paper made of hemp clothing was extremely common, second only to
So
cotton.
1950s, is it?
1920s, 1930s, before the
1920.
1940s, essentially.
Okay. Okay.
So it was extremely common, and this is that hemp. It's got no psychoactive properties. It was just used for fiber, for seed, for vegetable oil, that kind of stuff. And then we have marijuana. Marijuana, you would have heard of. It is the cannabis plant which has THC, so it is psychoactive, which is the one which is used recreationally. So what happened in the early 2010s is that there were variants of hemp that were developed, which were very high in CBD, but still contained no THC.
Mhm.
And what that means is that we were able to extract CBD from these hemp plants without any THC, which is essentially cannabis without the high. So
Mhm.
all the other beneficial properties of cannabis, but just one component missing, that's THC, which is responsible for the high. So that was our first product. It was our CBD oil. It did not have THC. It was amazing for stress, anxiety, for sleep, um, and it was non-psychoactive. After that, last year, after being in the market for a year exactly, we launched our CBD plus THC because we started working with a lot of doctors, and doctors said that the primary reason patients come to them, at least in the later stages of an illness, is for pain management. So, be it chemotherapy, surgery pain, arthritis, um, severe injuries, and they said they wanted something for pain. And now, what THC does is THC is very powerful psychoactively, but it's also very powerful as a pain reliever. So, we created a CBD plus THC oil. So, this does have THC, but targeted specifically towards pain relief and sleep.
Okay.
And then finally, we released a pet product because there were a lot of vets who were starting to give our CBD oil to dogs because dogs and cats also suffer from arthritis and they also suffer from anxiety. Anxiety could be, fireworks or car rides or people coming over. Um, so we release a specific pet product, which is again completely THC free. So your pet's not going to, feel high or be stoned under his bed or something. So these are the three products we have, which were launched last year. And now we're on track to release three new products.
Mhm.
I can't give too many details about that just yet. We're about a month away from launch.
Mhm.
But the top of the line, we've done a lot of R&D for this, and we've kind of identified specific cannabinoids. But so the CBD and THC are the two main cannabinoids, cannabis-related chemicals, but there are about 100 others. So
Okay.
what we try to do over the past year is really identify what cannabinoid is helpful for what, and we try to create these products which help with very specific concerns using a very specific blend of certain cannabinoids.
Wow. You know, you talked about SEO. I just like to a
Mm-hmm.
little bit insight on, how do you, because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of education needs to happen in this category, and
Yeah.
a lot of people read a lot before probably taking this, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's not out there. Nobody is giving them like a tablet. This needs to be,
Yeah.
somebody needs to know that they have this option for pain management, or this is an option for stress relief, all of
Mm-hmm.
that. So how do you, are you actively involved in the SEO, or you've just outsourced it and, the company is doing it for you, or the person is doing it for you, or you guys are actively, because it will make the difference for your online sales, right? Because that's the one of the most important channel for you guys, SEO.
Yeah, sure. SEO is important, definitely, 100%. Before I hand anything off to an agency or a third party, I've made it a point to kind of learn it myself at least. Not the entire thing, but just a little bit, just so that when they are speaking to me, when I'm speaking to them, they can't say, rubbish words like, "Acha, ye na iska link juice thoda kam ho gaya." They can't just make stuff up with me then. So I did a little basic Coursera course on SEO. I checked out some Google resources, and then we outsourced it because there are only so many things I can do in house.
Right.
Um, but yeah, SEO is very important. Education is extremely important. That's how we're going to build customers in the long run by really educating the customer today. And maybe a year later, it'll come back to their head. Maybe there'll be a concern 1 year later, 2 years later, and they'll remember what they learned.
So
So
yeah.
education is the starting point. You'll trust the source you learned from. If we give unbiased, clean, honest information to the consumer without obligation to buy, they're going to trust us when they need a product like ours. They won't trust a third party. They'll trust the people who took out the who made the effort to really educate them.
Yeah. You started in 2020, you launched in 2021, right? 2021, 2022, and this is the third year of operation.
Yeah,
What are the revenues
exactly.
looking like in the last 3 years, the revenue growth?
So revenue growth has been on an upward trajectory. Of course, when before our offline distribution was stable, it's D2C and online. So of course, there were certain months, so there were just random slumps. But overall, month on month, it has been a solid growth. We've been able to grow our teams. I'm very financially conservative, so I make sure that we're always cash flow positive. So we've been cash flow positive. Um, 6 months going in, 6 months into launch, we became cash flow positive, and we've been cash flow positive since. Um, it is looking up. There is more interest growing. We're releasing new products. So, I mean, it's a nascent market, so it's bound to. I mean, there are a couple of years until we hit a plateau, really.
So, competition. What about the competition? Do you see any mainstream competitor coming there? Because you're bootstrapped, right? And there are companies. I've heard. I've not researched into it, but I've seen people talking about hemp and CBD. Not CBD exactly. CBD is the first time when I went into your site. That's when I read that. But hemp, generally, I've heard a lot of companies coming in. Do you have competition in the space at this point?
We do. It's very few companies. Some of them do make a good product. We try to always be one step ahead when it comes to product quality. I mean, that's our thing. We're just obsessed with quality. I'm making the product as if I was making it for my grandmother. We're not R&Ding and making it to sell to a consumer. My family is my biggest consumer of the product. My dad uses it to sleep every night. My nanny still uses the CBD oil. So of course, there's one distinction there. But another distinction you'll notice is a lot of companies in the cannabis space. They start. So there are two things. One is they brand cannabis as a cure-all. It's not. You can't just say cannabis is good for hair fall. It's not. It doesn't help with hair fall. There's no correlation. You can't say hemp seed is really good for cancer. It's not. Hemp seed is just it's a food item. It has barely any active chemical. So we kind of stay away from that. We don't treat cannabis as a cure-all at all. We understand its limitations. We understand what the chemicals are that actually make a difference, and we only sell those. So we won't see us do hemp seeds and hemp seed oil and these kind of hemp clothing. We won't see us do extra products like this because that's just we're a medical company. The second thing you'll notice is that we don't really advertise the cannabis leaf. There are cannabis brands where their logo is a cannabis leaf. They have cannabis leaves everywhere. They have the entire trippy vibe going on. So we don't do that. We don't fall into the entire marijuana, cannabis, casol trope. We try to be more medical in our approach. We try to treat them as active compounds, and we approach it through that angle only.
Got it. So what's the future plan looking like? Are you looking to raise funds or just bootstrap it, grow slowly, and as you move forward, what's the plan?
So I'm a huge proponent of sustainable step-by-step growth. That's how we've grown Qurist the past 3 years, and we're at Touchwood at a very um, foundationally solid position right now. We do have the capacity to keep growing organically. Perhaps we will start looking for larger investments later down the line. If we ever want to, really explode with a boom and, really market instantly crazy amounts of money, um, we can look into that. But right now, very honestly, my focus is just to create these three new products and just have have us grow organically before I feel confident to say that, hey, listen, we're happy to take your $100 million and turn this into, this is what we'll do with that. Before we reach that stage, I really want to grow it organically as much as I can.
Absolutely. That's the way it should be, I think so. Unless you need money,
Yeah,
unless you know that there is a huge market out there, what's the point of putting in that much money into it, right? It might
exactly. And
explode.
with
It might just explode.
yeah, it's a big risk then because either it'll go really up or it'll come crashing down. And more
Right.
importantly, the minute you have large investors on board, so we do have smaller investors, but the minute you have a large investor on board, the priorities shift completely. Right now, our priority as a company is very different. Sure, sales numbers, all of that is important, but the entire team, we're just grinning from ear to ear when you get that one customer call that says, thank you so much for your product. It really helped my grandfather. It really helped my father during his last days. We have tons of messages like that, and we've saved them, and we kind of go back and look at them. That's not going to happen when there's an investor on board. When there's an large investor on board, uh, our KPI, our main thing, of which symptoms will be branched out of, will be sales. And then priorities shift. And then you kind of
Absolutely.
lose meaning of your company.
That can happen with smaller investors as well. Trust me.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of thank you so much, Samisht, for taking out time for doing this, and you know, just if you had one advice for somebody who's starting out, if you could give
Mhm.
somebody like you one advice, what would that be? Just one advice, if at all you have something.
If you fuck up, don't be demoralized. Everyone does, and you just have to do better next time. There is
Can you say it
no
again? I
path.
did not get it.
Okay, sorry. So basically, if you fuck up, just don't be demoralized. That's it. Everyone makes mistakes, all that is very cliche, but there is no path to success that does not involve failure. I've made 100 mistakes before I made the correct decision.
Right.
And the most important thing is just don't feel too bad after making a mistake. Try
Absolutely.
to treat it as
You
a
should be
positive as
your
much as
self
possible.
motivator.
Exactly. I think our generation, we're way too hard on ourselves. We really push ourselves, we really judge ourselves, we hate ourselves for being lazy, for procrastinating, for making mistakes. I think we need to be a little easy on ourselves.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Samisht.